Okay, so should you waive contingencies? Before getting any deeper into this, my first thing that I would say is talk to your realtor. This is a super location and property specific topic. There's some areas, for example, in the East Bay, where it is almost expected for every property. If you're buying a house in Oakland or Alameda or Berkeley or San Francisco or any of those cities, it is almost expected that you are going to waive your contingencies. In other areas, Sacramento, Elk Grove, going up to Folsom, that's a lot less common. It happens, but it is much less the expectation. So talk to your realtor first before making any game calls on your own. Okay, but should you waive contingencies? And if so, which ones? Okay, so waiving a contingency means that you are giving away the right to have the ability to back out of the contract if something goes wrong. So for example, if you waive your inspection contingency, that means that once the seller accepts your offer, you no longer have the ability to back out of the contract, to cancel and get your deposit back for anything other than an appraisal issue, a loan issue, or if your purchase is contingent on selling a property or there's other contingencies in place, one of those. But if you decide you don't want the house anymore, you can't just cancel if you've removed your inspection contingency. If you get inspections done and you find out that there's a crack in the foundation or that the roof needs work and you've removed your inspection contingency, you can no longer cancel and get your deposit back. The upside of this, why people do it, is because that's super powerful for sellers. Put yourself in the seller's shoes. If you have two offers that are similar, and one person, they got great cash offer, they got great down payment, all these good things, but they say, hey, we need 10 days to do inspections. And during that time, we could renegotiate this whole contract and ask for a bunch of credits. We could ask you to do repairs. We could ask for a price reduction, or we just walk away. We could just burn 10 days and cancel the whole thing. And you've got another buyer who says, maybe we're not even gonna offer you quite as much money as this other buyer, but if you accept our offer, we cannot cancel. There's no backing out. If we do cancel, you get our $5, $10, $15, $50,000 deposit, whatever your deposit is. Seller gets to keep that. Which one would you choose? Right? Most sellers will go for the one that has removed that inspection contingency. Same thing with the appraisal. If the lender comes in and says, this house that you offered $500,000 on is worth $490,000, what happens with that gap? If you, as the buyer, or if you're the seller looking at an offer, if the buyer has waived that appraisal contingency, that means that no matter what that gap is, the buyer is committing to cover it, right? They are buying the house for $500,000, even if the appraisal comes in low. Again, that makes a buyer's offer much, much stronger to a seller because it reduces uncertainty. And then the loan, that is one where if the lender comes back and for whatever reason denies the loan or says that they can't provide financing, the buyer doesn't have the ability to cancel for that. They have to perform and get their deposit back. This is actually probably one of the easiest ones to waive, in that if you have a lender who can give you a fully underwritten loan, meaning they've pushed you all the way through the process, you've provided all of the docs, it's been sent to underwriting, gone through a really, really rigorous process, oftentimes they can give you a fully underwritten loan approval letter, meaning you don't need that loan contingency period. Okay, so the question though, should you waive any of those contingencies? And again, the answer is gonna be, it depends. It depends on how competitive the house is, depends on how competitive the market is. It depends on whether the sellers have provided disclosures and inspection reports. Oftentimes, if the sellers have provided those disclosures and inspection reports, they're expecting you as the buyer to waive the inspection contingency, right? The idea is, well, if we're giving you these reports, what else do you need to do? So why do you need an inspection? Okay, so ultimately the takeaway though is the more of these contingencies you waive, the stronger your offer, but the more you're giving up as a buyer. So talk to your realtor about how you can incorporate that into your strategy.